Let's celebrate this month. Let's celebrate this week. Welcome to the Big Weekly Blend podcast, the companion to our Big Weekly Blend magazine. Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Big Weekly Blend podcast. Say that fast 10 times. We're celebrating the fourth week. Well, it's really the fourth, I'd say 5th week of October here with Joey Stuckey. Joey Stuckey is an awesome musician. You can keep up with him at joeystuckey.com. He joins us every fourth weekend to look at what's coming up the next week. And so we're going to be doing this from October 22nd through the 29th. It's almost Halloween. Really happy about that. We love Halloween, but I think everyone's tired of wearing masks. So who knows? But welcome back, Joey. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, my friend. And I'm excited this year because I'll be spending Halloween in the UK. So I'm looking forward to checking that out, seeing what that's all about. They've become sort of Americanized in the past 20 years or so when it comes to Halloween. And so we'll see how it goes, but it should be interesting. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do yet, but we do have that day is not a work day, so I'm sure we'll get into some kind of mischief. And I was hoping to be available for Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes night.
Oh yeah,
that is on November 5th traditionally.
Remember the 5th of November.
That's right.
You've been to Bonfire Night. Yeah.
Well, see, you're fun. Cool, but unfortunately, I will be in. I mean, not unfortunately, but I guess I'm excited. I'll be in Milan during that time, but I won't be in the UK. So I don't know if maybe they'll have something a little early. I don't know maybe if they'll combine Halloween and some fireworks for Guy Fawkes. I don't know, but we're going to investigate and find out.
When we lived in England, it wasn't October. Like Halloween wasn't celebrated, and but Bonfire Night was. And from what I can tell from my friends in England, it's kind of changed up a little bit. It's kind of more of like when we have fireworks with the city putting it on, that kind of thing.
Right. That's exactly
Whereas
what
back in the day
as well. Yeah.
It was kind of the neighborhood block and everybody took their kind of threw old furniture and blew it up.
But now the city's doing it. But yeah, I'm hoping we can experience that, but we may not. I don't know. We're going to be in West Sussex, on 3rd November, as the UK likes to put it, November 3rd. So we're gonna be doing a show that afternoon. So maybe we'll see some early celebrations that night. But we got to get back to London that night and fly out from Milan the next day. So I probably won't have much time to.
Yeah, it's a Friday night though, so you never know. That's right. You never know. Well, when this airs, Nancy and I will be driving from Maryland. Silver Spring, Maryland. Yes, the song, Stevie Nicks' song, Silver Spring, comes from that. She saw that on the sign as they were driving.
Maryland's an amazing place. I spent some wonderful time in Maryland this year.
Yeah, we're going to be back up there. We were there earlier this year. In fact, we missed each other again. When we drove
by a week or something. I think it was like a week. Yeah,
we missed each other. We missed you when we drove through Georgia because you were in England.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will be driving to Tucson. We're going home for a little bit. And
do you remember?
Maryland,
you've probably never heard this, but there's a company called Z as in Z, ZBS Media, and they produce radio dramas. They're one of the greatest producers of radio dramas in America. Modern radio dramas, modern meaning the 70s and beyond. And they have a wonderful short story called "The Tongue That Licked Tucson." So I can't help but think of that every time I hear Tucson, Arizona.
Well, they didn't lick any saguaro cactus. That's for sure.
I think I know where the tongue came from.
Where's the tongue?
Don't start, Nancy. Please don't start, Nancy, on this. It is Halloween. It's almost Halloween, so she's got corn candy on her tongue. I know that.
So what's the deal? I have to say, what's the deal with the candy corn? Because I love them, and yet they taste terrible.
It's plastic.
They're funny.
I mean, it's like the nature of man. The nature of man is revealed through candy corn because it shows our masochistic streak. Because I was like, this is terrible. Num 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 num. I want some more. Num 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 num. God, this is awful. Num 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 num. I mean, what is the deal?
It's just because it's a little crunchy on the outside. It's bright and colorful. You can use them as phony teeth.
You can. I've done that. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah,
And they kind of taste like stale Peeps. That's what they kind of taste like.
So I mean, they're just funny.
Yeah.
I like them, but I think over the years, candy has been so mass produced that it's lost its quality. And so I like old fashioned candy if you can get it like the old fashioned style, like in England. And I talk about this a lot. England has Cadbury eggs for Easter.
Yes, or Cadbury.
Real.
Yeah.
And when you come over to this country, they suck.
Yeah,
they do not taste like England's candy. Yeah,
let me tell you that
difference.
England has much better, Europe in general has much better chocolate than we do.
Oh yeah, we suck. We do. Unless you go to a chocolate shop.
Well,
like
now my favorite little treat that I have to have whenever I'm in the UK, I get about 6 bags of Jelly Babies and carry them home with me.
I'm with you. And
I love them.
Licorice. And
you
licorice.
Jelly Tots.
Yeah.
Wine gums.
Crunchy bars.
Crunchy bars. Those are delicious.
Crunchy bars are the best.
Yeah, they're good. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's, a Curly Whirlies. You don't forget the Curly Whirlies.
Oh my gosh, the Curly Whirlies.
Oh my gosh.
Whispers. What do they call the malt in the inside of the little chocolatey things?
Oh,
malt Whispers, I think.
Are the Maltesers you're talking about?
Maltesers, yeah. So they were different in South Africa. And oh my gosh, no, don't start me. And rock, which is really why I have teeth problems.
Candy.
Rock candy is a naughty thing to have. But now, do you like spotted dick or sticky toffee pudding?
I do, and I love bangers and mash. And actually, I'm really excited. Every time I go to the UK, I meet new friends and new fans, and I'm just my presence there continues to grow as I travel there. And this year, I have a dear friend. And he has invited Jennifer and I to come to his home, and he's making us homemade shepherd's pie.
Oh, cool!
And so I'm very excited about this.
See, now my granny came from Hull in Yorkshire County.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my good friends is from there.
Oh wow! Yeah, and she was 4'9", and she cooked shepherd's pie. Oh my gosh, it's so good! And
a good shepherd's pie.
Yum.
Is there? Yeah, it is good, and because it's how the topping is done.
Yeah,
you got to have a crusty top.
Yeah, and you have to know what you're doing. You really do.
But then there's Yorkshire. Okay, listen, because dumpling
pudding,
day, Yorkshire pudding, like the dumplings, like oh, please, I get so like when people used to poo-poo English food, but I'm here to tell you, stop it. It's really good. There. And listen, an English breakfast, they know how to do a fried tomato, mushrooms.
Ever.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's amazing.
Steak, egg, and chips. And listen, chips are not the same as French fries. These are two different things.
They know how to make, what do they call them? Slop chips.
And go to the Mr. Chippy, and then salt and vinegar. Malt vinegar is the world's best friend. It is.
It is delicious.
Okay, so thanks,
there we
Joey.
are. Now
You've made us really hungry to start the show off. Okay, so our main theme of this show, which we never stick to, but we're going to try. We'll see how well we do. Is
and
nuts
remember,
and
it's
chocolate.
all Lisa's fault if we get off it.
Yeah,
so.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Nuts and
Nancy
chocolate.
And I decided.
Yeah.
Punks and artists. I think that sounds like a good title, but let's see how well we do with this. And this is what we do in the Big Weekly Blend. For those who are new, we always look at what's coming up in the week and holidays, observances, all that good stuff. If you look in the show notes, you'll see link to Joey's website, joeystuckey.com, and also link to our site, blendradioandtv.com, that has a page with music playlists that Joey helps out giving us songs. Hey, put this on the playlist for this week with all the different themes. And we create a playlist on YouTube and Spotify, so it's for everyone. You can listen. And we also now do book lists and reading lists, author lists. You can see the birth anniversaries of historic and famous people throughout the week, all the weird and kooky holidays. There's something for everyone in there. So check that out in the show notes, wherever, if you're listening on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Google, all that stuff. We're in every place you can imagine. Yeah, we're on everything.
I listen to your podcast on Amazon. So
is it on Amazon? Is that Do you listen to audiobooks on Audible?
I do.
Awesome.
See, on that's cool to know. Yeah. Everyone's got a different thing. Apple, people are like, oh, this is my thing. I have to do it on Apple. I'm like, well, we're also here. We're here, everyone's got their thing. And
now, since we're talking about chocolate, the book list would certainly have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ooh. Oh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And who was it that was just in that? Was it Gene Wilder that played in that?
Well, he was the original. Willy Wonka. And in my view, the best. The new Willy Wonka seems a little, I don't know, it just has a bit of a pedophile vibe to me.
So, who is it?
I can't remember.
Well, let me figure out where. Let me go to.
That's funny.
Wait, I gotta go. Where is the chocolate? Where did the chocolate holiday come from? I'm looking at all these different holidays, and it's kind of cool. There's some interesting ones that we have. The very first holiday for October 22nd is National Nut Day. And so everyone check out the peanutpatch.com. And I said peanutpatch.com.
Yeah, be careful.
I know.
Be very careful.
And no, but they have all nuts, including peanuts, which are legumes. And listen, they have everything, and they have
what's your favorite nuts. What's your favorite nut?
Okay, honestly, I love peanuts, even though they're not a nut. I love nuts.
I'm gonna be ignorant and call them a nut. So
cashews.
Cashews and pecans and pecan pie.
Macadamias.
Pecan pie is the ultimate bet.
Honestly, I'll eat them all, but I'm allergic to them now.
But
I did have a little bit of almond the other day, and it was okay. So I do a little bit here and there to kind of get my tolerance.
I love almonds. I like those a lot, but my favorite is the cashew. I like the macadamia nuts, especially when I'm in Hawaii. I eat macadamia nut pancakes, but
they're good. Yeah,
being part of the Stuckey family, I have to give a shout out to the pecan.
Yeah, pecan pies are
pecan. Listen, you said pecan, not a pecan, because that is pecan.
There's a big debate about this, whether it's pecan or pecan.
That's what you keep under your bed when you don't have a toilet.
Exactly. I just always thought pecan sounded weird.
Like a pecan.
So I just say pecan. But I don't know if I'm the minority or the majority on that.
Well, I think pecan sounds very when you hear a real good Texan or Southern accent, it's pecan. And it's very genteel. It's very
it does sound bougie.
But it sounds better than pecan.
Yeah, that just makes you think of a rusty old can.
But you know what? Listen, I like that they bring this up like in October, National Nut Day, because one of my favorite things during the Christmas holidays is to sit and crack nuts and eat them. I love those.
They're fantastic. Do you cook them over a fire, or what do you do?
I roast my own chestnuts. Yes.
Yeah. I figured you did. You look like
that's why I'm allergic to them now. Actually, we used to play knockers as a kid in England with chestnuts. You get the chestnuts off the tree and you play knockers, and it was about knocking the nuts.
Knockers,
like you knock the nuts together on their thing, and whenever one broke off, then you lost, and whoever kept their knockers knocking won. And then knockers is another word for boobs over in South Africa. I know. I didn't know that in England.
Being a breast enthusiast, I was aware of that.
Was knockers American too?
I don't know. I think
is it British?
It's British.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Actually, the British brought more terms over here.
Everybody,
obviously.
Hold your knockers.
Yeah.
Well, don't come a knocking. You're not.
Since it's National Nut Day, should I tell my hurricane joke? I better not.
Oh boy.
Oh no, I better not. I really better not. That's a naughty, naughty, naughty joke that I told as a young kid to a barbecue full of adults, and they thought it was hysterical because they're drinking.
Tell it. I almost choked. I couldn't believe she said it. I'm
always for making a public spectacle of myself, so I'm all for telling the joke, but that's just me.
Okay, everybody, hold your ears. Okay.
If you don't like it,
this was as a little kid. I didn't know, but it's this joke. Listen,
now, I think you were like 7 or 8.
9, 10, 11, 10. I didn't understand. I thought it was funny for one thing because the word nuts was in it. I thought that was funny.
Oh my gosh.
This
She
takes it to
said it
different level. So I'm sorry for all
in front
those.
of all
I did
my
not.
friends.
This
Well,
is
do
being
this.
told.
Tell us the joke and then
I'm going to tell
explain
the
it to
joke,
us.
and this is out of innocence, so please do not get mad at me later. But this was as a kid, did not know, so I'm just reciting history. So I stood up and said, I have a joke. And because, and everyone's like, oh, let the little kid tell a joke. And, but I was also the one running around giving everyone cocktails. And you know what us kids did when we were doing that too.
Yeah.
Oh, let's taste this.
Yeah.
So what did the hurricane tell the coconut tree? Hold on to your nuts. Hold on to your nuts. It's going to be one hell of a blowjob. And I thought, it's cute. It's a cute joke. It's not that bad. It's not that dirty, but I didn't know what that meant. I just thought, oh, he said, hold on.
He said, you're talking now, but if you're thinking we're in a foreign country 40 years ago, it was like, whoa.
Come on. That wasn't 40. Do not 30? Make me older. Hello.
20,
I'm not in
30?
the 50s yet.
Excuse me?
No.
You are turning 50.
No, I'm not. Not this year. No.
And
it's
let
not
me
happening
say, Lisa,
yet.
you'll always look 25 to me.
I know, right?
That's the one advantage of being blind.
Perfectly aligned.
Yeah. That's the one advantage of always being blind. My friends can always look eternally youthful.
And listen, This is the beauty about Halloween and this time of year. We can be anything we want. We can wear what we want. We can mask who we are.
Do you know what I want to do for Halloween? You know what I want to dress as for Halloween in the UK?
What?
I want to dress as a black cab.
A cat?
Black cat?
No, cab.
A cab. Like one of their little cabbies.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. Vroom, vroom.
Oh. Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
So that he can flash his lights.
I feel like I should wear all black would be a starter.
Yeah.
And then I need to make my chest look like a bumper or something, I guess.
Yeah, you need headlights on your boobs.
Then you could put headlights on your boobies.
But males' breasts are not as exciting, is all I can tell you.
Yeah, but if you put flashers on them, they would be.
I guess. Yeah. But
if you could flick them on and off, that would be really cool.
Well, then I wanted Jennifer to dress up as a double-decker bus.
Oh, that's, I don't know if a woman wants to be called a double-decker bus.
And then I thought we could just run into each other all night.
Oh, that'd be funny. But I want to ask you this, Joey. Why do musicians keep wearing black, like all black a lot? What is that?
Because it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Johnny
Cash did it.
Well, I think it has to do with, and jazz people in particular, but I think it has to do with being dramatic.
Yes.
I think it's performance clothes, but I don't know. I've always done that. Well, I say always. My wife, basically, she hands me clothes and says, "Wear this," and I just do that. But my instinct is to wear all black.
Well,
the thing is because
we pets it, so
they focus on what you're doing, not what you're dressed on. See, wearing black.
There are some artists that really dress up, that's what they say, it's slimming, yeah. And there are some artists that dress up like, outlandishly, like Peter Gabriel and, Elton John.
You know what?
People like that.
I think Peter Gabriel is a little bit of a genius, don't you think?
Oh, he's very much so a genius. Well, I mean, what he does, though, in fairness, what he does on stage is like performance art.
Exactly.
It's like Laurie Anderson or something. It's like, it's a visual show.
I still can't.
I don't really do that. That's not really me. I don't really do visual storytelling through with the music
that would be a little bit difficult.
Well, it'd be hard for me as a blind person to really appreciate the visual side of storytelling, and secondly, it's hard for me to maneuver all over the stage with cables and stuff everywhere. What I do though is I do use my body and my face to communicate. So I'll shake my guitar, or I'll do different things with my face, or I'll stomp the floor with my foot, or so I add some physicality to it. But I don't really know. But that's a great question. Why do musicians always do black? I don't know, but most of us do, and it's not even something we talk about. Everybody just shows up. But
it's easier when you're touring too to have like an all black wardrobe.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, I will say, depending on where we are, I will oftentimes we're playing a bar. I don't really care. I mean, it's like wear whatever you want. But on occasion, I'm like, okay, guys, dress code is this. And, I tell them, like, this is what we're going to wear. Like, for example, if we're out on a break, when we tour, I try to take at least 2 days in whatever city we're in. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes it's just one day. But I try to take 1 or 2 days for us to experience the community. And so I will say, hey, today we're going to go sightsee, but everybody has to wear their JSB shirts. That's Joey Stuckey Band. So everybody has to wear the Joey Stuckey T-shirts because it's good promo for our shows. People say, hey, what's those T-shirt about? Oh, we're a band and we're playing here tomorrow night. You ought to come out. So, or if we're playing a corporate party, it may be that suits are required. Like we have to wear our suits, or you have to wear a tuxedo, or it might just be that we wear what I call dress black. So we sometimes, we do that. That's typically what I request.
Oh, that's it. We're putting "I Want to Paint It Black."
Good song with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, and it is National Color Day. How about that, Nancy? That's for you. Yeah.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah, Nancy.
Oh, I don't know.
Because you're an artist, so you must have a favorite color.
No, I have too many. I like it when you mix colors together and come up with something brand new, and you go, ooh.
Yeah. So how about, do you like the color Bermuda Sunset, which I understand is a flavor of crayon?
Oh, see, crayons make you want to eat the crayon.
Okay, but when you say Bermuda, I start thinking golden.
Do they have a candy corn crayon? You need a candy corn.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So what about puce? Are you familiar with that color?
You just wanted to say puce.
Sounds like
you wanted to say puce. I swear to God, Joey, you just wanted to say that.
It's true. Well, I mean, it is true that I wanted to say it, but it is apparently it's a mixture of orange and gray.
Yeah. So there's puce and then there's fuchsia.
Yeah, fuchsia's pink, right?
Yeah, it's pinkish.
Yeah,
pinkish.
So I don't know anything about colors really, but as a blind person, but I have studied marketing and studied what colors suggest like calmness, or what colors suggest energy, some stuff like that. So my studio, because I want it to be a friendly, warm, inviting place, primarily is like tans and yellows, and then some red. And so
red is power. And then yellows is friendship.
Yeah.
And
so I mean,
happy.
Yeah. So that's what I try to. So we have some artistic energy in the space, but we also have warm, inviting, comforting tones as well.
Do you know rose colors have different meanings?
I did not.
Yeah, they have different meanings. And back in the day, like certain ones meant you want to have some nookie.
Yeah. Well, red still means that, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're
like red roses and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
where apparently yellow roses are friendship roses.
Yeah, yellow, and that's doing the color thing. I used to make jewelry and do beadwork and stuff, and I'm allergic to metal, and so I can never really wear half the stuff I ever made. But I got stuck into the history of beads. And then I couldn't pull out. It was like a rabbit hole of history that because different tribes in Africa, and I know Native Americans too, different colors meant something. So they would make jewelry with messages. Yeah. And so then I was like, oh, I could do this and then have like the story. And so then it became, well, if you use like a cowrie shell that was traded for, a cowrie shell was money in slavery.
Well, it has different connotations.
Human beings, everybody has cowrie shell has so many different stories attached. And then it was like different shells, and then it was like, well, this color over here meant this because this is where this tribe was. And I mean all kinds of, human tribes, right?
Yeah. And then there's also the theory of musical notes having a color. Right?
Yeah.
This whole thing, like so is green.
That's it. That's what I was trying. Artist Ted did his thesis on it. It's a big deal. He said music and color go hand in hand.
Yeah, the synesthesia is a real interesting phenomenon, and that's there's a whole study of that, which I think is terribly fascinating. Of course, a lot of people don't associate colors with music, but a lot of people do. So it's fascinating.
I remember my first thing about color and music of the little dots you'd put on your guitar, green to make this chord, the red to make that chord. This is your E string. This was your G string. What color is your G string?
Green.
You're a sick puppy.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so
if
proud
it was
of it
purple,
too.
I'd really, here it goes.
Well,
But colors are fascinating because of royalty,
a long
all of
time
that.
as a blind person, people say, "What's your favorite color?" Or they say, "Do you care about colors?" And I don't, I really don't. But I have heard that I look good in black, and also that I look good in red. So I remember that. And but for a long time, and my website was this color for a long time. Purple was my favorite color, and that comes from the fact that when I was 4 years old, I went to Disneyland for the first time. It was the first time I was really healthy enough to do anything, and we went to Disneyland for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and I was enamored by the monorails that they had running throughout the park. And there was this one hotel where the monorails actually came inside through the hotel. In fact, they came through a track. They came through a track in the ceiling in this restaurant where you were eating. And the monorail.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really, I mean, for a little kid, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the monorails were just so cool and very modern and very sleek and very space age. And they were just really interesting. And so the monorail was purple. And so I always associated for a long, long time that excitement and wonder that I felt as a child at these monorails was associated with purple in my mind. Even though I don't really know what purple. Even though I don't really know what purple is. So my website.
Purple is
mixture
royalty.
Of red and blue.
It's royalty because red and blue is royal colors.
Well,
purple is like the rain.
I have heard. So then I started joking around and saying that I love purple because it was so versatile. It stands for spiritual peace, royalty, and gay pride. So I thought you got it all.
Yeah, gay pride. You got to give.
You got everything you need with purple, and plus Prince liked purple, so that's got to be something.
Listen, Prince,
Purple Haze.
I was just listening to Prince today, a song Peach, and I just go and I think about the span of music Prince did from jazz. So many people don't realize what a jazz artist he was.
Oh, he could do anything he wanted. I mean, he was great.
And the guitar, have you seen or heard? There's this recording out on YouTube of him doing a sound check and doing Summertime at the piano.
No, I haven't heard that.
Holy cow, man.
I'll check it out.
It is just everyone Google Summertime Prince sound check or just that
or Prince Summertime.
Oh my God. You just have that he could play anything he wanted,
Yeah, have you heard that he had an album he released after he died called Piano on a Microphone? And boy, it's awesome.
Oh, I need to go get it. There's certain artists that you just can't really, like Robbie Robertson being gone, it's still very huge. Like I listen to, his music all the time. And, it just, I know the band was such a big deal and he really kept the band going. Well, he wanted to quit a lot because of the drinking and drugs and everything. But, what he did for Native American music is where I really got into him more than anything. And each individual member of the band to me did something incredible. But there's an album, I'm even trying to look it up because I just play it. I'm like, what is the album I always play? And it's a Native American and he did this whole thing of the Cherokee, and it is the Red Road Ensemble, music for the Native Americans. I think that's the one because I just always play it. And
I got a chance. I have some clients that studio clients that are Native American, and they asked me to come on tour with them for a big festival called the Gathering of Nations, which happens in New Mexico.
Yeah. That's coming up. We just did a thing on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, they said, will you come? Cause I produced their, 3 of their 4 records. And they said, will you come and play guitar for us? And also, when we're not having guitar, play some, cause I'm also I minored in percussion when I was in college, so I'm also a percussionist. Although I'm certainly sort of low side adequate on that, but I was good enough to do what needed to be done. And so we play some percussion and play. And so we did, and we actually opened for Robert Mirabal, who's an amazing.
Oh God, he's amazing. Mirabal's incredible.
So that was really a cool experience, and I got to buy a native drum while I was there, like
cool.
Like the whole authentic experience, and told the story of the drum, and I also got to hold an eagle, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, well, no, but Robert Mirabal is like Carlos Nakai, and he's actually been on our show years ago. They're both way up there in Native American music, and we've had NAMI winner, Grammy winner, Everin Ozan on our show, and he went to the Grand Canyon as a kid with his flute money, bought a flute. His flute, but his pocket money, and just started playing, like really channeling. And we've actually
so
done
weird.
concerts with him and had him booked and stuff. And a fly could be flying away. He's basically could
channels it
just
from somewhere.
Channel and move his hands to just get the fly away, and it's still the notes are playing. I can't explain it, but his lights go out whenever he plays. The lights flicker. I don't care where you are. He takes out entire systems when he performs. Wow. And now he's a pilot, and he's a downhill speed skater and stuff like that.
Yes,
but
interesting.
He's an amazing. I'll send you a link to his music. Everin Ozan, I think it's ozanmusic.com. Always in his 20s now. We knew him since he was like 9, 10, 11.
He's older.
His mom, he's got to be. Yeah, I mean, he would go around to schools and recreate powwows, and and we did a lot with our magazine at one point. We started as a print magazine in San Diego in '97, then went to
we met him.
Blend. So
he was a child when we met him, but he had a presence of like when he walked, you don't get in his way. He wasn't mean. Yeah. There was just this, whoa.
Yeah.
It's just this, whoa. Like, this is somebody that is carrying a message, or he's got a mission. It's something special.
I want to go back to what you were saying, because, Carlos Nakai is amazing. And then you've got Mirabal is this incredible performer who really kind of set the stage for Native American music that brought it to the white people masses, right? He kind of
that's true. That's exactly
elevated this level of performance, and they understand like hoop dancing and everything, obviously, but he kind of got people to understand and kind of push the Native American side out. And Native American performers in their music they're very interesting, how their rhythm is a different rhythm. And they do kind of also go, if they go into white people's music, go into more, not white, I shouldn't say that because of blues being black too, but going into the blues, right? And they have this other rhythm in their drumming and a different lilt on the blues, but they'll do it. Like they love the Doors too. And they have this whole other way of doing it that it's interesting, because all my Native American friends, like they love Depeche Mode and they love the Doors. And you'll hear them perform, and this really interesting drumming pattern that is not your, this is the typical Native Americans. No, there is no typical, right? And you go to powwows and things, and you hear how they do it by step and heartbeat. Step and heartbeat. It's all that.
They also like interrupt themselves and change things when they feel like it. They don't.
Like the wind. They're connected with nature.
They just go by pure feeling and thought, and one person will start something different in the middle of the song, and the others will follow along, and then somebody else will go,
which if you're trying to incorporate Native American music into commercial pop music is very challenging. Very challenging.
That's what I was trying to say. It's not. It doesn't work.
I don't think it belongs there.
But they do. I'm just there. It really can work.
I mean, it's the same.
And there's a different sound, and it's a different sound. It's like a whole. I almost want to say it should be its own genre, because
it should be. Absolutely.
The blues music that Native Americans play is this whole other sound. And
it's different than
and even the rock, because they bring in this extra rhythm that's a different, it's really fascinating to me. Because there's soul, and there's a very, so like when you hear pure tribal Native American music, you can hear the emotion, right? There's the singing and it's community sound, right?
There's certainly a sort of primal quality there.
Primal, right? Tribal,
communal.
Yeah. And then when you take that, you could take the same musicians and then put them into a rock band. It's a different sound, and yet you can still hear it if you hear the roots music. Let's go to the roots music again. We talked about that last month, but go to that sound. What is their roots, right? And then you put it in the rock, pop, blues, the other side. They do bring that in from this one part into this, and it is a sound that no one else has. And I just feel like it's an untapped sound of like, it's a different branch of roots music of this is where we are now in this world. And these are the influences around. I mean, I know there's Native Americans doing hip hop and stuff too. So there's, and so that should be listened to because they bring this other element to the table that is different than other musicians. And it's just a different sound because of their culture. And it's a fantastic sound, and it's different and it makes you listen in a different way. So anyway, and just saying that, but I wanted to go to you, Joey, for what you go into the Gathering of the Tribes, right? So, Steve Miller Band, right?
Of course.
Big Old Jet Line. We talked about this, and I know we talked about this on a previous podcast, but I really hope you will watch the documentary film Genghis Blues. This has got, let me get his name again. I got to go back to my notes. Paul Gerard Pena. He was a singer-songwriter, and he was also blind.
I didn't know that.
And yes, and he wrote Big Old Jetliner, right? And
I did not know that.
And he wrote that. He did a lot. He did stuff with the Grateful Dead, opened for them, Zappa, all of that. He's done a bunch. And then he went. He did all this shortwave radio stuff. So he was kind of like a geeky person sitting in like Tune in Tokyo kind of thing, right? And no, not that way, Nancy. But ham radios and stuff, shortwave radio, exactly. Yeah. Listen to that, Joy. All right. So, anyway, he ended up getting on like some Russian radio thing and hearing Tuvan throat singing. And he went to Mongolia, and here he is, blind, going to Mongolia. And he was really more of a blues musician and guitarist and stuff. And he went and learned Tuvan throat singing. And then
I'm so impressed with that stuff. It's so fascinating.
It is like your voice is like the vocal instrument is, we've got many chambers in there. And like if you listen to Janis Joplin, you'll hear she's singing a chord.
Yeah.
It is not
often
a single note all the time. She can do a chord.
She can do 2 to 3 notes at
one time. And it's about using your chambers and your voice and understanding and knowing them and taking care of them. Unfortunately, she did not. But this Tuvan throat singing is like you are creating a didgeridoo in your vocal cords.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is insane. But if you watch or listen for you, right? Genghis Blues, he goes to Mongolia, and then they have this Tuvan throat singing, like the whole country comes out for this Tuvan throat singing. And it's very much like our Native American cultures, the sounds, right? Mm-hmm. And so he goes in and enters it, trying to do blues, Tuvan throat singing, and doing blues. He tried to merge the two together. It's a very...
Wait, why not?
I remember watching it and then rewatching it. And it was back in the days when Netflix came on a disc. It was 99. I was looking at it now, that it came out. And then I'm like, I got another day. I'm going to watch it again because I was so fascinating about the singing system of Tuvan throat singing and understanding. I mean, I think when you have more time than being all digital and all this fast paced life that we have, we miss these art forms that we already contain in ourselves.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, anyway, sorry, I go on rabbit holes with stuff like that. So anyway, moving along, October 23rd is National Boston Cream Pie Day.
Excellent.
I like it.
Face.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Oh, yes, you have.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Is it?
You've had it. Yeah. Yeah.
If Nancy says you've had it, you've had it.
Listen, here's another day. This is ridiculous.
I'll make you one and put it in your face, and then you'll remember.
Okay, we all know that we have annoying coworkers, but this is slap your annoying coworker day. I'm not even listing this in the notes. That is not.
I think I can get behind that day, but I'm afraid that it would be. We live in such a litigious society. I'm afraid it would end you up in prison. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can fantasize about it, but you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah, you probably should not.
There's a lot of Hindu celebrations going through this time of year too. And I love Hindu celebrations. They are just so colorful. And so,
yeah, absolutely.
The food. Oh, are you kidding me? Like Diwali.
Yeah.
I just, I think when we do all these shows, it's just really interesting, beyond the commercial food things and all that, to look at these international holidays and kind of like, ooh, what are they celebrating? What's important to these other cultures that are different than my own? This one in Western India is, and I'm so sorry for not pronouncing this correctly, Mahanavami. I really am sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
What does it celebrate?
Mahanavami. That's it. Mahanavami. It depends on the lunar date in the Hindu calendar. And it's when the goddess Durga destroyed Mahishasura, the buffalo monster, according to a Hindu legend. And so, a lot of people do this as a symbol of good triumphing over evil. And don't we always love that? Yeah. So it's like kind of it's a positive thing. And, so it's telling the stories, the stories of their lives. There's more. There's a lot of different ones here. it's all the same. They just have different names. Actually, now that I'm reading it, it's a big deal apparently. So that's a good one. The October 24th, Diwali. Oh, yes. I love Diwali. Mm. I mean,
that's where they have the colored powders, right? Isn't that the big thing?
No, that's holy. That's holy.
Okay.
Yeah, the Diwali is almost like it's the festival of lights. So like we're heading towards Hanukkah and so it's kind of the same kind of thing. It's a 5-day celebration, celebrated by millions of Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, and it means, Avali means row and Deepa means clay lamps. And so it's a row of lights, just similar to Jewish faith,
Nice.
So fireworks, sparklers, it's about having light. So it's a, celebration of historical events and religions. And I like anything with sparklers. I think they're cool. It's National Food Day. I mean, how do you have a National Food Day? What is it? Just go out and pig out? It's Farm Animal Welfare, National Bologna Day. You can keep that.
It's to appreciate food. That you actually have a source to go get it.
Did you say National Bologna Day?
I did.
That's funny.
Not in like you're talking bologna. I mean,
why not? But why not? Why couldn't it be both?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying they're talking about the meat.
You are what you eat. So if you're going to eat bologna, you're going to talk bologna.
Ew. Do you eat bologna?
There should be like
in South Africa, it was called polony. No. Polony.
No, I don't
no, polony is a different meat than bologna.
No, it's two
different things.
I do not eat bologna. I've never enjoyed it. I do, however, like some good fried spam.
Well, that's going into the corned beef hash again.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Spam, we used to get a lot of that.
Spam.
Bologna is spam. Bologna is really not.
It's pink, and there's bitsies in it.
It's not
anything
really
with bitsies.
real,
I'm out. No,
it's a manufactured, made-up meat.
No, we can. Okay,
this is a holiday thing.
This is a food holiday I can get behind. It is National Jamaican Jerk Day, not the jerk with Steve Martin, but
not
National
jerky?
Jamaican Jerk. Yeah, I love that movie. Is that not one of the best in the planet?
So my wife didn't realize that jerk chicken and stuff was very spicy. And she ordered some, and I thought, gosh, that seems out of character for Jennifer. She doesn't usually like things that are super spicy. And she ordered it, and it was so spicy. It was at a Jamaican restaurant. It was so spicy that it just lit her mouth up, and she couldn't get the pain to stop. So, but she tried to play it. She tried to play it cool in front of our friends, like she wasn't having a minor gastrointestinal issue. And so then they're like, "Oh, you're not going to eat your food." She's like, "Oh no, I'm just not hungry. I'm going to take it home." So then to keep trying to pretend that she wasn't had made a horrible mistake, she put it in a doggy bag, put it in our car, and then forgot it. And so it smelled like jerk chicken for a week.
Yeah.
Jerk chicken for you, jerk chicken for me.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to say, I'm not a fan of things super spicy like that. I had my first curry in the UK last year.
Oh,
but
they have good curries.
It was a mild curry. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like light your tongue on fire curry.
I love a good curry. You know what? Since you're going back to England, I want you to know that October 24th is World Tripe Day.
World what?
Tripe.
No, don't do it.
The lining of the stomach of cattle, sheep, or pigs.
No, don't.
They
stop it.
Pick it up.
I'll pass.
Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
Well, no, I mean, it's eating all of the animal.
No.
Right?
No.
Well, okay. I can respect that, but still, I don't want it.
It's also National Kangaroo Awareness Day. Tie me down, kangaroo.
Bouncy.
So now, Joeys are baby kangaroos.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got a baby kangaroo.
I have always felt an affinity for kangas.
They're so cute. They're such a different
Joey Roo from now on. It's Joey Roo is on the show.
I'm all about it. And Jennifer, I'll say to Jennifer, like, "Hey, honey, I want to, like what I'm feeling goes like I feel bouncy today. It's like when I'm not having some issues with my health, and so I was like, I feel bouncy. I want to get out and do stuff today. I'm feeling bouncy. So I always think of myself as a kangaroo, jumping around.
Cool.
And I think if you know me well, I am sort of, pouncy, jumpy, happy, weird kind of thing. So I like being equated with kangas.
Well, there you go.
Sweet.
We'll just call you Kangas Khan.
But they do. Actually, they do box, which I found.
I have heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen it. And it's
they're mean when they do it. Yeah.
I would not. They kind of. They bounce over to one will bounce over to other and hard slap one to the face.
Yeah.
And then the other one
hard
slap one. Boom. Yeah. Smack in the face, and the other one will actually make a fist with its little paws.
Oh, nice.
And then they go boom, 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 like they tunnel, like they go boom, 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 and they hit, both hands curled into hands, paws, I guess, into fists. Yeah. And it's, and they hit at the chest.
I'm going to have to do some Australian music.
I know, but they are.
Who's the guy that does the kangaroos? The kangaroo song.
Tie me kangaroo down, sport.
Yeah,
kangaroo down. I tied my kangaroo down.
It's I know his name, but I can't think of it.
That's like the most annoying song. I can't do it. I can't do it. I know. Listen, I'm moving on. Listen, this is better food here. We're going to talk about World Pasta Day. Come on.
That is my weakness. Pasta. It is my weakness, but unfortunately, because I'm trying to lose weight and become a thinner, sexier me, and more importantly, a healthier.
What would you choose? This is more important.
I forswore pasta, so I eat cauliflower pasta now, which is not the same. But
no. Let's talk about right now. We can live in the fantasy land. So we used to play jokes on people, phone pranks back in the day when you didn't have caller ID.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, so we used to call people up, and this is our friends Brendan and Marshall started this. Brendan is, by the way, an amazing musician. He's a sax player, keyboardist that played with Johnny Clegg and Savuka. And anyway, it's sad to see Johnny go. But we would call people up and say, "Oh, hello, would you like some ravioli, or would you prefer some casual sex?" I don't know why this is so funny. And I don't know. Your refrigerator running didn't seem to make it into this joke, but
that's
casual sex versus ravioli. Which one do you choose over like a really good ravioli? I don't know.
I'd have to say I'll take the casual sex, thanks.
Okay, so he can't eat the cauliflower cauliflower pasta.
But I do love some good ravioli, and of course I love some lasagna because I'm a big Garfield fan too. Garfield loves lasagna, and baked ziti. That's good.
You just wanted to say zit.
Well, here's the thing. This is the honest to God truth. I have never met a pasta I didn't care for.
I love pasta. Good. I mean, there's like a texture thing if you do it right. Now, this is important. Today is National Chucky, the Notorious Killer Doll Day.
Oh, okay.
Chucky. Oh, ew.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it.
And all right, going back to food, okay, and we got to get to music now, but it's National Greasy Foods Day, and don't we all love a good greasy something?
We do. And you can try to pretend that you don't, but you do.
But Nancy likes her bacon. That's our big
I adore bacon. And we cook bacon so good in our house. Like my wife's everyone in this house cooks bacon except for me. Everyone in the house really cooks bacon right. And we even have good Jewish friends who come over and eat bacon with us because we do it right.
And it's not in their house. They won't put it in their house. They'll do it outside.
Right.
Yep.
But bacon, I don't know if you cook it
Everything's better with bacon.
And even don't rush it. Don't try to.
A little grease is good. And I really like a good grilled cheese sandwich, like with a ton of cheese, with avocado and pickles in it. I know it sounds weird, but I'm still like, dude, now I'm going to have that for dinner.
Bacon and avocado. So really good.
What about fried pasta? Leftover fried pasta is also a thing, by the way.
I've done that. I've had baked lasagna. I mean, fried lasagna, fried ravioli.
Fried. You have the leftovers from the night before.
Yeah.
You fry it up, right? Yeah. You add more cheese
some bacon on
sauce, put some bacon on it. Nancy does this with pizza. This is some really good greasy goodness. Nancy will take leftover pizza, fry it up, same thing as pasta, fry an egg, let the egg run over. And you have the best breakfast, and you can have it with a cold beer if you are so inclined.
Well, so I have to say this: we're talking about bacon too, and bacon's good with everything. It's surprisingly good with peanut butter, which sounds ridiculous.
Oh yeah. We talked about this. Good. Elvis burgers. We talked about this before. Yeah. Peanut butter, bacon, pickles. He does a banana. I'm next on the banana.
I'm not doing the banana.
Bacon burgers with banana. I mean, with peanut butter and pickles. I'm not pregnant. I know, but I will eat that, and I will eat it with a smile. It is some good stuff. It's good for you.
There's a slogan in there somewhere.
I know. It is also International Artist Day, and artist is one of the things that we're talking about today, and Fine Art Appreciation Day. The world of art is important. So, Joey, for you, is sculpture something that you can make head or tails of? Like if and then you're not allowed to touch the art. Don't touch the art.
Yeah, I mean, it's
got boobs. I'm touching it.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, and I'm touching it. Yes, anything with boobs is going to be touched. People don't like to be groped like they used to. The truth of the matter is that you're really not allowed to touch sculpture a lot of times. When I was a kid, and we were in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, actually, and we were touring where they had the Liberty Bell. The tour guide said, "Oh, you're blind. Would you like to feel the crack in the Liberty Bell?" I was like, "Yes, I
beg your pardon."
That's right. Feel my crack. And so,
no.
And so I did. I got to touch it, but nowadays they wouldn't let you do that. And when I was in, I mean, there were some sculptures in the Louvre that they do allow you to touch, which is nice. But it just depends on where you are. So I do like sculpture. If it's really a big sculpture that you can't feel without climbing up on a ladder or something like that, that's not a problem. So smaller is better, I think, in that, guys. But I like sculpture. If I was going to do any sort of visual art or whatever, I would probably do sculpture. But it is fascinating. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll get a model, or a little souvenir of the sculpture that I can feel, and get some approximation of what it really is.
What it's about.
Joey's always feeling something.
I am. I'm always.
There you are.
I mean, as Clarence Carter said, I be stroking.
Touch me.
There you go, Rocky Horror Show again.
Dirty.
Yeah.
God, you know, Susan Sarandon has done some crazy roles.
Oh, I know.
You know,
she's cool.
You know, she drank part of Aldous Huxley's burial remains, his ashes.
Ew.
At Burning Man one year.
Apparently, she needs some therapy because
Susan Sarandon
sicky.
She went to Burning Man, and that's where he wanted some of his ashes, and so they did this ceremony for Aldous Huxley, and they drank wine and put some ashes in, and so she drank him.
Okay. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
You know there's bitsies in there. I'm not good with bitsies.
Keep your ash to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Ray Cyrus. Mm-hmm.
Keep your ash to yourself.
Come on, that song is annoying, man. Sorry.
Well,
not now.
That
wasn't Billy Ray Cyrus. That was George Satellites, right? George and the Satellites.
Yeah.
Keep your hands to yourself. Yeah, that was George and Billy Ray Cyrus.
And keep your hands to yourself.
Are we talking about one-hit wonders again, like we did in the last episode?
Breaky heart.
He's still going. Did George and the Satellites, did they keep going?
Both his children are, I don't know. Both his children are in the music business as well. So,
and it's really fascinating because they're so different.
Radically different.
Yeah, really.
But that's good.
And I remember listening to Miley Cyrus talking about her sister and going, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But Miley's got an incredible voice, I think.
Yeah, you know, she's I won't say that I enjoy listening to her, but I will say that she is compelling. She's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, if you go to her backyard sessions, sessions. Those are some more real down home, earthy stuff where she can sing.
The thing is, it's not that she's not talented. She is very talented, and she's very compelling. There's a presence to her, but I just don't enjoy listening to her. I mean, it's not. It's no disrespect.
It's a little harsh.
She's very talented.
It's a little harsh. But that's why the backyard sessions to me were better.
She's young.
More relaxed.
She's young.
Yeah, she's young, and she's got it. She
needs to mellow.
She's finding her way around life, right? So she's coming of age.
She's got to be close to 40, hasn't she?
Yeah, but I mean, coming of age and celebrity status, all the Hannah Montana and all that crap.
That's really tough. That's really tough to be so young
keep
in
your
the
head
spotlight.
and not.
Yeah.
Most people, as a young celebrity, a child star, they get so screwed up. I mean, Drew Barrymore always talks about it. I mean, all of them went.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
It is not good. I really don't think it's. I mean, there's a few that can get out of it.
If I were the parents, I wouldn't allow it until they hit an age that they could cope with it.
And understand this is what it is.
Now, here's the thing: did the kid ask for it or did the adult push it?
Well, I think in often cases it's the latter. I mean,
we have a weird thing too on the podcast. People are like, "Oh, there's this kid coming on," and I'm like, "I don't know if we want the kid on the show." And publicists, you know, and we know certain publicists together. They're like, how do you feel about this? I'm like, I want the parent on. If a kid's coming on, the parent comes on.
Needs to be with us.
I totally agree. That
I
will not do. We will not do it because it's a everyone knows him. We were talking about him earlier. Very young.
Setup.
He came on shows, but it was we did more of we worked with his mom, Faith, through everything, and we were now he's an adult and everything, but it was very much a family, like a real deal. She wasn't pushing her kid to do stuff.
Right.
They're very balanced, down to earth people. I mean, it wasn't the glitz and the glam.
Well, you've got to balance between supporting a child's aptitude for something, versus having the child participate in an adult reality. And you can't, you need to support them. But when a child says, "I want to do this, I want to do that," I mean, they're children. And frankly, they're not able to make good, rational decisions.
I wanted to be a nun. Are you kidding me? I wanted to be a housemaid. I wanted to be a nun.
They would be singing "What Would We Do with a Nun" like Maria if you were a nun.
You know what we did?
Yeah.
You know what we did? Because I used to teach art I taught art at a convent. And
this is in Kenya.
In Kenya, and I had to get permission to go from the papal enunciate who flew out to bless us and me and let me go behind, because they were cloistered nuns behind bars, not in jail, but still behind bars. And so I got blessed so that I could go actually teach them where they could see what I was trying to teach them.
Interesting.
And yeah, and so and then we kidnapped a nun, took her to our house because she'd never been outside the compound.
Wow.
And so we're like,
was she born into it?
No.
Okay, wait. This is the wildest story.
This is the weirdest thing.
This is the wildest story ever. So I ended up in convent with these sisters. They were Carmelite barefoot nuns. So that means like they were behind bars. They didn't go out in public other to get mail, and they grew their own food and everything.
Yeah.
And so crazy. Nancy taught them. That's why she had to get blessed to go behind the bars. And at the same time, nuns were being, graduated into full nunhood, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Sister Margaret was this amazing nun who took me around, and I wanted to be a nun. They gave me the little thing on
they cut a hole. The habit.
The habit. Veil. Yeah, they gave me like the headdress thing.
But
and then
the mother, the mother superior wouldn't let them give her the veil.
No, they cut a hole in it.
They put a hole in it.
They let me taste the bread and all that, and I didn't do very well with that because I thought it would actually be bread, and it wasn't.
Spit it out right in front of them.
Don't tell people that on a Sunday show.
Well, you did. You did.
God. Anyway, oopsie. Anyway, so I want to do all this, but I was in a convent because the school before that, I was a little kid in Kenya, right? And Nancy put me in a multicultural school, and I made it multicultural because I was the only white kid. And I got picked on, and we've done shows with other people being on the other side of the coin, and they're like, what, a white person got picked on? I'm like, oh yes. So it was Indians, like Asian Indians from India.
And
they were different horrible. Tribal black people. No, they weren't. But they did mess with me. The teachers taught me the best math on the planet. And those teachers were so smart. And I was 5, 6 years old, and I could tell you my 12 times table. And
nice.
No, really, really smart. However, there was this little kid, little Oli Tip, and he kept spitting on me, hitting me, trying to slap me down, lift up my shirt because I was blonde, had long hair, and he didn't understand this, and I was white. And that was a whole other mystery. Let me finish.
Well,
Let me finish. So he kept hitting me, and then one day I turned around and smacked him back.
Hard slap one.
Yep. Because he hit me, and he was just trying to make me shorter. The spitting is a Maasai thing of like a blessing, like, I don't know what the hell you are, so I'm like blessing you that you don't hurt me. Well, that didn't work. And he was lifting the shirt up to see if I was a male or female. Because the women, the Maasai tribe have long braid, the women shave their heads, the men have long braids, which is really, with mud. And so he didn't know what I was. And then he kept hitting me. And so I turned around and hit him. Well, I hit the Minister of Home Affairs' son. The guy had over 50 wives, over 100 kids. And I was asked to leave. And there's a whole other story where the guy who ran that school and a whole bunch of others, the Druid, took Nancy aside and told her she needs to get a goat head, gave her this stinky little bag thing, and told her to get a goat head, bury it under the back door porch thing.
And we on it
like so many times a day. And because we have all these troubles coming
up. Oh my God, I'm on it. I'm going to go do that right now.
Piss on the goat head. So then Nancy goes, okay, that's what I'm teaching the nuns. You're going to a convent. So next thing you know, it goes from learning your maths and knowing all this stuff. And next thing you know, you're getting the knuckle slap. But Sister Margaret, this is the most amazing story. So Sister Margaret was like a mentor. As a kid, I learned all about gardens. I learned my alphabets better. I learned so much from her. And, anyways, fast forward to now, like when we started our magazine, 97, 98. At 97 is when we started in San Diego, print magazine, just northeast San Diego. And the Oceanside Harbor, we had all these clients, running out there, getting their ads and everything. And I had taken a road trip. We were expanding to the Southwest, and I had this appointment with Rosa, and she had the Ye Old Hawaiian Hut store, which I know is not there anymore, but, or maybe she sold it, but, this is like 97, and she was at retirement, definitely at retirement age. And I went in for her to renew her ad and get the artwork and everything. And she says, "Oh, Lisa." And at that time, I still had a very thick accent from living in South Africa, which was after Kenya. And says, so everybody knew like our story of living in Africa and everything. And she goes, "Lisa, you'll understand what to do. Maybe you can help me here." I said, "Sure. What is it?" She goes, "I'm trying to send a package to Kenya." And I said, "Well, good luck with that, because, basically at that time, you can send it there and people will say, 'Oh, that looks good. I'm taking it for myself.'" And she said, "Well, that's the problem. I keep sending these packages to my best friend. I send her a nightwear, books, all these things, toiletries that she needs. And it turns out it's Sister Margaret." Wow. They were best friends.
That's crazy.
In Philadelphia. Go back to Philadelphia where you were. They were best friends in high school, and they were 15, 16 years old. And she was an orphan, Sister Margaret. She was born out of wedlock, or whatever you want to say. And at that time, the Catholic Church was sending out those girls because you came from you're a bastard child, basically. Off you go.
Yeah.
And so Rosa, my client, wanted to go with her, and her parents wouldn't let her go. But she would say that she would sneak in to the orphanage at the Catholic place and get in bed with her, and they were like close little friends, And I mean, not get in bed weird, like it's true human support.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I just have to be very clear about it. And this is her best friend, and they kept in touch all these years. I almost fell down, and she almost fell down.
And so that was your friend that had never left the convent.
Not our. That's the one that Sister Margaret.
The one that one.
And Carmelite
nuns in
when
Kenya. We kidnapped her.
Yeah.
That's
How
the one.
Interesting.
Is that not a small world story?
That's crazy.
I know. And we kidnapped her and took her around Nairobi so that she could see where she actually lived.
And we took her to our house so she could meet our dogs.
Yeah. And so she could.
Apparently that was important to us, that you need to know our dogs. Here we are, pet sitters.
So we stole her, and then we brought her back. And then the Mother Superior, like 2 days later, called me over and said, "I know what you did." I'm like, "What do you sound like? What's his name?" Clint Eastwood.
I'll make my day, punk. And that brings us up to the next thing of the day is punk for a day. See, good segue, Nancy. Well done.
That was beautifully done. Beautifully
done.
Well
that was stealth. That was a sneak attack. No, but
that was immaculate.
The world is small, people, and it does exist that way. And don't hit people in school. You might get in nursery school. You might get expelled.
You can't hit people.
And you might have to pee on a goat head.
Well, I was. My mother always talked to me a lot and taught me how to be rational. My father too, but I was. There was a little girl that in kindergarten was attacking me, jumping up and down on me, and knocking me over, and all this stuff. And I tried to rationalize with her and tell her that people were to love, not to hurt. But it did no good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that sometimes.
But and then, you bring up the punk. I think that's an interesting musical genre, and I'm glad that Lisa comes up with all these amazing things to talk about. And what I think is so cool about it is because we're talking about school, we're talking about formative years, and punk music really was about annoying the parents. That was really its mission. It became political and was about political statements and things like that. But initially it really, I think, started with the Sex Pistols. And their goal was just to annoy everybody. And initially they were a marketing stunt. They didn't really play any of their instruments very well. Eventually, of course, they learned how to play their instruments and had some very seminal records that were important for punk music movement. But it's punk has a really interesting lifespan, and a lot of interesting artists, and it's really cool art form. I can't say that I do a lot of it, here, but I think to me the British punk scene with bands like the Clash, the Sex Pistols, the Buzzcocks, they were the start of it, and then we took our own sort of crack at it here in the States with bands like the Ramones. And punk was a very simple art form. 2 or 3 chords was all you had to have. And that was it. And it was more about energy and angst and being loud. And so it's very cool. So I sent Lisa some good punk rock songs, I think.
Yeah, you did. And we're going to have a nice playlist with this. And the punk, when we got to England, between our life in Kenya, we went to England, then went to South Africa. We lived in England, and it was the early 80s, right in the height of the punk scene. So everyone's walking around with piercings and mohawks and everything. And I was like, we just left Africa. We're just, they're white people doing all this tribal stuff.
Like Africa.
Yeah. And the music to me was interesting. And it was like, it's like white person hip hop in a way, right? Not hip hop, like the music's not the same, but it's it's like blues, right? It's another form of anti-establishment. It wasn't just about parents. If you listen to the Clash, they were against what was going on with the oil scene.
Yes. There became a lot of moral and political statements made through punk.
Right, and it kind of took the hippie era.
Yeah,
and it really weird. I find it
charged it.
Yeah, this is like the hippie era, and they just said, listen, you're being too like la, screw this shit. And yes, we have rock and roll, and heavy metal was at the beginning too. You got to think about what metal was doing at the time of history of this. And then you get punk, and rock and roll is like, what? And then what the hell? Here we come with disco. What the heck is going on?
And,
the 80s.
What's really fascinating is that
pop.
right after punk, there was like the post-punk era, which became new wave. So
weird, and then it went electronic, right?
Yeah, which was really fascinating, because we were talking, you and I were chatting about this on Messenger the other day, that we were saying that, Blondie was a big part of the New York punk scene.
Yeah.
But when you listen to their music, you hear a lot of disco, you hear a lot of rock, you hear some punk, you hear some reggae. So they really expanded way beyond all that, because they were riding the time between punk and new wave, and there was a real blurred line there of genres. So it was amazing.
What about the Pretenders? See, to me, the Pretenders came in and they had one of those moral messages too, even though they're a rock. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, they had that edge of punk.
Yeah. I would definitely call Joan Jett more on the hard rock side.
I know, but there was still that. Yeah, the Buzzcock, and then what you got Sid Vicious and all of that too. I mean, you got to think about. Dude, that was some crazy shit going down.
The
Sex Pistols.
And a high, really dysfunctional lifestyle. I mean,
really,
just
it just made me swear. I mean, I mean, but so there's, I think a lot of our friends, Michael and Spider, who did the music for the show. Sadly, Spider has passed, since, but, they had a glam rock band, punk rock band in LA. Did I just hear that? I did. I heard your cat. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. It's getting to feeding time. She wants corn candy. I want candy. Like that. Okay. Think about that song. I want candy. That was like,
the version that we all know. It was actually a hit from the 60s, but, Bow Wow Wow did it in the 80s, I should say.
Yeah. It's crazy when you kind of think how it shifts and stuff. But, our friends Michael and Spider had a Red Wedding and Hey Taxi, and Red Wedding was this band where, they were doing this punk. I mean, I should send you some of this stuff. It's like, it's glorious. But in LA, being openly gay at that time, also people they were attacked for it in a lot of different ways, to the point of somebody just stole their cat and hung it and put it on their doorstep in a shoebox with a noose around its neck.
Terrible.
So they said, "Screw this." Well, but that's when people think about gay pride and everything. In the last episode, we were talking about drag and everything. You have no idea, like if you're that against what people have gone through to continue who they are as human beings. These are prolific musicians and ended up moving to Tucson, and then they started doing soundscapes, like meditational yoga style music, but it had this jazz and all this
music.
It's interesting.
They went from one to the other extreme, which I find fascinating.
Well, it's interesting. I've never understood, persecuting someone else for their life choices, as long as they aren't hurting people and they're not hurting me. That I don't care. Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Neither do I.
And I just can't understand why you want to force other people into a narrow shoebox. And I have been discriminated against as a blind person, and in my early childhood, in particular, as I got older, I stopped caring. But it's like I don't really care anymore. But as a child, people were like, either I was too blind or not blind enough. I mean, it's like, if I did something amazing with the limitations I had, that was annoying. If I wasn't able to do something, then that was annoying. You just couldn't win. And I was bullied several times at school and a lot of stuff like that. But people are incredible, and I'm so grateful for our diversity, and so grateful for all the different ways people have found to make life vibrant and beautiful and amazing and worthwhile. So it's so sad when you think about, somebody wanting to harm somebody else because they love differently or they look different, or it's a shame.
But it's really more, it's more about them not believing in themselves than it is fear
anything
of
else.
The unknown.
Yeah.
They're scared.
I think there's a lot of that. You're right. And of course, there's people that want to exert control over everything. And it's so interesting to me that I find most of the time when you have a negative experience, it's somebody projecting on you all their insecurities, all their fears, all their hatreds, rather than actually, anything to do. It has nothing to do with you.
No, it doesn't. It's just you get to be the sounding board.
But
the
punk era was about people finding, there's a frustration from the establishment, right? And it's not
absolutely
like you're saying the government. Right now, we are like that in our country, and we're like that around the world. We are going through this dominance of control of our governments that people don't like.
It's fascism in a lot of cases.
I mean, Rage Against the Machine, right? That's one of the best.
It's about
titles, band names.
You have to be rich. You have to be rich to get into office. Therefore, if you're in office, you're a rich person. You do not represent the rest of us. Sorry, go away.
I have a friend whose father. And politics in the South, Joey, better than us probably, and her dad actually changed religions just to get elected. And I'm going, dude, like seriously.
Wow.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And he was a preacher. Now,
oh my God.
Hello.
Yeah. Right. So I'm just saying there's stuff
we all
like,
trust that person.
Like in this country where the presidents, and I haven't seen them the last few, but presidents going out and hunting to get the hunters on their side and stuff like, I'm just going, and then you're going to go kiss a baby. It's kind of this weird thing that we have about, and I think music plays this role of telling the truth of the people, and punk, blues, hip hop, reggae even, right? Rap, all of this, roots music, like there's anger and frustration. And if you've got to channel anger, do it through music more than anything.
Absolutely.
Heavy metal does it too. Heavy metal is totally anti-establishment too, but heavy metal, you'll see most heavy metal people and hard rockers, they're more religious than you would ever expect. Right?
But you understand the establishment is afraid of people who do that.
That's
It's the anti-establishment blues, man. But
and to Nancy's point earlier, that whenever she was saying you have to be rich to get in office and you don't represent people. I think that's really, really true. And what's even scarier for me is that if you think you are the only answer to the problem. That's not a balanced perspective, and it should make you afraid. And one of the things that people in this country, we have a lot of people that talk about the Constitution. Well, if you really want to talk about the Constitution and you really want to make things work the way the Founding Fathers intended, then you would serve your term and go back to farming. Our political office was never meant to be a career. It was meant to be service.
Career politicians, it wasn't a few months ago that Dianne Feinstein in her 80s couldn't actually place a vote.
She couldn't even vote.
Mitch McConnell couldn't even make a statement. No offense to either one. Both parties. Right. What are you doing still standing there? It's not fair to our youth. And that's when the punk era was the youth saying, screw you, you're not thinking of us.
Now we have our voice heard. That's right.
We do have a newer punk era in a weird way, but it comes in different forms, right? So we did an interview with, the band, LA Guns.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we had, I'm just seeing if the Brutalists actually come up on, the band. The Brutalists there. So Mick Cripps, is one of the founding members, and he came on our show a couple times, and he left LA Guns and created the Brutalists and started talking about brutalism. And it's a form of architecture. And then once you get this, you understand there's parts of England, and you'll see this, well, maybe not, but you'll get it. And that, it's like what we've actually done with developers and everybody having the same little apartment blocks, and you go into poorer neighborhoods and you're all living in these little boxes, basically, on the little boxes on the hillside. Now we have richer little boxes, right?
Right.
And these, so brutalism was, if you go to Ireland, England, you go here in the States, you have these row houses of people living in poverty in really, the HOA housing stuff and all of that, like those little, not HOA, what do they call it? FIHA, I don't know, whatever it's called. Lower income housing where you're all living on top of each other, and they want to say, oh, you're in a ghetto, you're this and that. Well, here they are, but you're all living in this monochrome. This is how you're going to live. This is how you're going to operate. And so it's a form of architecture called brutalism. And it is not interesting. It is the most depressing architecture that you can think of. And, it's post-punk what they're doing, ska, reggae, rock.
Yeah.
What they're doing with the Brutalists.
Right.
Encourage people to listen. I'm going to add that. I was just looking and see that they're on Spotify because they're really good. And it's about we're doing it again. We haven't learned our history. It's important to go in our history. And
it is so important. History is very important. And that's why I'm so disappointed with some of the decisions being made about banning books and all these things.
Oh my God, banning books, women's rights.
That is so stupid. Only a moron does that.
I mean,
people are dying over it.
If you're so afraid, if you don't think that you've raised your children to be rational, kind, thoughtful people, then, and you think that one book is going to turn them into some monster, then man, you've got some problems.
I don't want somebody who is that fear mongering that of to represent me. There's no way.
Well,
that's
right. And, we have scientific data that proves that our brains don't work effectively when we're afraid. And when we're afraid, you don't make good decisions.
No kidding.
And so it's just, I think living in fear is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Living in hope is a much better idea. And, I'm not saying you shouldn't tell the truth. I'm not saying you should sugarcoat things, but I am saying that, this banning of books is just, that's the beginning of the end. That's the beginning.
That's ridiculous. Changing history.
That is actually a form of dictatorship, and anybody whoever subscribes to that is somebody looking to be part of the upper class that says who gets to do what.
That is not what
they're too, they don't get it. They're
well,
not smart
and
enough
also
to see what's happening.
Changing kids' textbooks with false history.
That is just so, I mean, it makes me feel truly physically ill to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, this is not, okay, so we talk about our founding fathers. I say our founding fathers and mothers are on a spiritual plane, right? That's a spiritual side nature. Everybody's got their religions and spiritual beliefs. So I go there. That's our founding of humanity and life. And the founding people of this country are indigenous people, right?
Absolutely.
So here we come on our boats and like, we're going to do this, do that. But it was in the pursuit of freedom and liberty and justice for all. Yet now, no, we're going to tell you how to live. And both sides are doing it to each other. Both political parties are doing it. No one is making sense. And in the middle,
you're right.
In the middle, at the same time, we have the rich people at the top, and we are losing our middle class, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Very rapidly. And we do so many interviews on with all the documentary filmmakers. I just want to give them the biggest shout out of love and thank you and gratitude for what they do, because they get the interviews on the ground. Nancy and I are on the ground traveling the country, and we're in people's homes. So we have these immersive experiences. And what we're learning is that families are divided. I used to say, it's a lot better than what people think on the news. What is you're not seeing on the news is how divided families are, how they're crying, how they're upset. Their brothers, their sisters, their loved ones, even husband and wives are divided right now in this country.
And
it is, music tells the truth. That's why the punk music is such an important thing. You may not like it. It's not something you play to have dinner to.
Well, it's not
pretty. Maybe you do. It's not pretty, but it's not meant to be. It is about getting the angst, the anger, the upset out, so that it doesn't cause, because that negative energy, which is caused by rage because you're being hurt, your trust is broken in your life. This is what politicians don't see. You've broken trust.
They don't care.
Of the actual people of your country that share the same country.
And it's healthy. As much as I'm very much about affirmation, as you know, but as much as I like keeping a positive attitude, a joyful spirit, and a grateful heart, saying that you're frustrated, saying that you don't like something, talking about what's wrong are all healthy, important things.
If you don't, it's going to get worse. Look at the Holocaust, right?
How do you make change if you don't admit there's a problem?
Well, that's right. And that's one of the reasons that I like to actually, this is sort of a side tangent, but that's one of the reasons that I like to use the word disabled, because the reason I like to use it is twofold. One, it allows me to take any negative power out of the word. Because I use it, so it can't be used against me. And then secondly, it's because I am physically unable to do certain things. That's just the reality of it. It doesn't mean that I feel bad about myself or I feel like I'm less than, because I don't. But there are some facts that I have to recognize, like I can't drive, there's certain things I can't do. And I think if we can't be honest about it and use words that reflect the situation, then there's no way to come up with a solution.
Well, you face things head on, right?
Yeah. I don't know any other way to do it.
I think you've got to hug the monster. You have to hug the monster to move forward.
Absolutely.
It's like the best way through it is to go through it,
Yeah.
And that's, it is. And I think, Nancy and I stand up for principles, which we lose clients over, and we don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
It's true, because there's always somebody that is aligned with you around the corner.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it is okay to close doors, but I always try to bridge gaps where you can. But if the other side is not willing, and sometimes it takes a few years. Everybody's at a different growth stage in their life.
That's exactly
Sometimes somebody could be very close-minded that you think, oh, I really want them. They're not ready. And maybe you're not ready for their stuff either. So we're all going to put ourselves in that. We've all screwed people over at some point. Done something wrong, hurt someone's feelings.
Whether you meant to or not, yeah.
Exactly. We don't know.
My dad was disabled since I could remember. He had a lung disability, so physically he looked fine.
Yeah.
He couldn't breathe. He couldn't walk across certain rooms. Like I'm in a 12 by 14 foot room. He couldn't walk across this room.
Yeah.
So he was in a wheelchair, but he didn't have any signs of being disabled. And it was really interesting how he was treated, because he didn't seem like he should have been missing a leg or an arm or something.
Right. He didn't meet people's expectations of what they thought disability was. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was really difficult. Like when we had to go shopping, oh my God, that was the worst experience ever. Because, okay, you wheel him in and he's telling you what to pick off the shelves and people are frowning at him. And then when he went to pay for groceries, he had to try and stand up.
Right.
And sometimes you couldn't get the wheelchair between the counter.
Oh, how well I know. I was in a wheelchair for about 7 months. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And so people would be all scrambling. Then they'd look at him like, well, what the hell's wrong with him anyway? And they couldn't understand breathing disorder versus a physical thing that you could see is obviously wrong. And it was soul destroying. And I hate to say it, but more cruelty out of people than I ever saw kindness.
Yeah.
And I equated it to stupidity. And I'm trying to not say it that
Ignorance.
way.
Yeah. Same thing. It is true. It is true. And that is why, as we've said before, it's so important to travel and see new ways of doing things. Even if you don't adopt those ways, it helps you not judge a book by its cover, for lack of a better cliche.
And you're never alone in any issue that you have. You're never alone.
And that's the other beauty about music. That's the other thing about music. I feel like music has such a powerful role in the human experience because it is about, artists are historians, but they're also forward thinkers. And so it's really important. Music has the ability to break barriers where there are barriers and to expose you to new ideas and new thoughts and new ways, but also to remember the past. So that's why music's so important, because it's this thing that can really, open your ideas.
The arts, because no one can other than banned books, which is really the worst thing, right?
Oh, it's awesome.
Arts, arts, it's your own thing that people could tell you, oh, this, or don't, what's your guilty pleasure? Oh, screw you. If I like something, I like something. It's not a guilty pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Screw that. I hate that term. I hate it. Unless it's talking about food and I'm going off of what I'm not supposed to eat, fine. But if it's music or a TV show or something. Oh, well, my guilty pleasure is watching The Bachelor. No, it's not actually. I don't. But this happens to be what you like, so
my guilty pleasure has to be watching, Below Decks Mediterranean, which is I have no idea the greatest trash television. If you're sick one day and you need something in the background going on, but nothing that you have to take to heart, and you don't feel like you're too lazy to get up and find the remote, change the channel, it works okay.
Well, everybody's got that stuff, but I'm just saying music really does. Like if you're upset about something, there's a song for it that will connect with you emotionally. Absolutely. And it's not what the songwriter really they may have an intention when they wrote it, but, and wrote something maybe personally, but it's yours to make. It's a co-creative experience. And even though you have a song memory, right? That song you'll always think of maybe dancing with this person or maybe being, someone passed away and this song really solaced you. It's going to be different every time because you're always in another situation.
It's funny because
memories.
It's funny. Yeah. It's funny because, that's the great thing. People say, well, what is this song about? I was like, well, it's about whatever you want it to be about. You take it, make it your own. My initial intention was this, but whatever it means to you is fine with me.
It's a really true. It's
the same with art. Like when people buy a painting, what I intended was I painted it because that's what I want to paint. What the person who buys it sees is something totally different. Like, okay,
it's amazing.
Hey, but it feels something. I mean, there's. We on the last episode we were playing the Ghost of Tom Joad. Every time I hear that song, I literally cry. I cannot help it. I just because I know it's it just all the homeless situation that we have in this country and people that are experiencing homelessness and Nancy and I choose to be homeless. There's a different thing. And kids going through
okay with me. Yeah,
choose choices.
It's all about choice. It's all about choice.
but we see people. We see people living, right? And we see people living on freeway medians in tents. They're in the median and they're at risk, and they're in tents, and then we see them on the hillsides.
And that music, that's why, to me, it's a real song, and it was done so many years ago, and that's what aches my heart. And yet at the same time, why it's heartbreaking, it's also a solace. It's a very weird thing. You know,
it can be, it's music can have cognitive dissonance. It can have, two different things happening at the same time. And I have to say, I think it's important to hear songs about homelessness and things like Another Day in Paradise, Phil Collins. And it's important because honestly, I don't think we've made any progress. I mean, I started being aware of homelessness in the 80s. And I don't think it's gotten any better from what I can tell.
Look what Robin Williams tried to do. Whoopi Goldberg back in the day, Robin Williams. And I want to bring up the arts, comedians.
And Billy Crystal. Don't forget Bill Crystal.
Oh, Bill Crystal. Yeah. And the comedians, I want to give a big shout out to them because there's no way on earth we survive without comedians.
Oh my God.
And to censor them, they need to stop it.
Oh, listen, if you don't like it, don't listen, but leave them alone.
Exactly.
Leave them alone.
I mean, I started this show with a little bit of a naughty joke, but it's just not that bad. It's up to you guys how to take it.
I really feel like, if you are looking to be offended, you will be.
Oh, of course.
I feel like in most situations, being offended is like your choice. Not always. There are some times that people do things that are mean and cruel and you can't take any other way. But I would say a lot of times it's people that get offended are people that are looking to be offended.
I agree.
Or they think their way is the highway and the rest of us should get off.
Absolutely.
This should always be this color and that should always be this color and that should always be this sound and that should always be this because I said so.
Absolutely.
I'm like, really get over yourself.
No. Let's try joy and happiness and have some positive. Like just go, hey,
but
I'm about to say this or that. Let's just
love and happiness.
We're supposed to be nice.
Well, let's all talk at once.
but we're supposed to be nice to each other. We're supposed to have each other's back.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all on the journey together, man. We got one planet. I mean,
and we need to fix it.
We sure do. It has been hotter. I mean, it's brutally hot. And anyone that says there's no climate change, oh my God.
We're going to ignore it. We're just going to, we're going to ignore it and leave it to the rich people in Congress who don't care.
Yeah. And can't even use the internet. For Nancy and I, we have been through areas that we've gone back, year after year, and the weather has changed significantly in the same time, same year, because we do pet sits repeats, and some people go away at the same time every year. And it's bizarre. I mean, one area that was cool had tornadoes and heat waves, and we could barely do podcasts. People want to do Zoom video. I'm like, please stop. I'm dying in 95 degrees, because I can't run an air conditioner.
Sweaty and naked. I don't need you to see
that. Really. I'm like, seriously. And then there's, the times where snowfall came, and big snowfall. I'm not talking little. I mean, we've been out in 19-degree weather going, what? This wasn't supposed to happen.
Snow. I used to love snow as a kid, hate it now.
No, it's not. The weather is weird. I mean, we've had fires in the Mojave Desert, Maui, California with tropical storms.
We did it as people. We did it. We did it.
You cannot deny it. You cannot. And so we cannot deny it because it is really, truly happening. Whether you want to argue about did what and where, the point is it's time to take action and really do the best we can. But I'm going to go to this in closing. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead from the punk over a few days because there's all kinds of cool holidays in there. There's Pumpkin Day. Who doesn't like pumpkin and who doesn't want to carve an apple?
Love pumpkin muffins.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's got the pumpkin. It's National Chocolate Day on October 28th. Yay. And I think that's a big deal because chocolate is good. And if you can get it from a reputable place that does take care of their natural environment, like our fair trade coffee, we can get coffee, chocolate in the same way. That's also a good thing because of our rainforest. So just saying. Good chocolate is a good thing, and also not using child labor.
Especially dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate and chocolate. We started talking about nuts and chocolate covered nuts, but chocolate is a good thing. Dark chocolate is good for your heart. Not a lot of it. And it can make them, things get a little bit happy.
It makes you smile.
It's a little aphrodisiac. Just saying, a little dark chocolate, with a little spice in it.
Yes,
a little homina. A
little frisky is good. It is the same day as National Chocolate Day, and there's music for chocolate. Just saying. Is National Pit Bull Awareness Day, and I want to really do a shout out to this because we've had so many pit bulls. Steve Schneikert, our Hollywood historian, and I want to call him Snickert Bar because so many people in England call him Snickert. But Steve Schneikert, our Hollywood historian, has a wonderful pit bull, Bella. So I want to give a shout out to Bella, who's beautiful, sweet, sweet, sweet dog. And we've done nothing. Pit bulls are the sweetest dogs.
Unless they're mistreated.
And bulldog, American bulldogs too. They were the family dog.
They're funny.
They are, and
they're
got those smush faces. Yeah, they're
sweet.
As a child, I had a bulldog, and her name was Lily, and she was so sweet and so kind and such a great companion as a kid.
Dogs are loyal. Dogs are very loyal, and it's how we, people train
how we treat
to fight. Then you've done that, and then the animal has to go backwards and ends up, most of the time, being taken out in a shelter.
Yeah, and if you do that, you suck.
But I just want to give a shout out to pit bulls. Are the sweetest. I've seen them be so good with kids, babies. I've seen them just be really good to me. Sweet, smart, fast. They are the best defenders of you. If somebody breaks into your house, they will take them down, but they will not take you down if you did it right and showed them kindness and love. And all animals deserve that. So we were talking about all these social issues. The same day is National First Responders Day. I want to give a shout out to everyone. And we've talked about these wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, things like September 11th. We can't really, there's a lot of things. It's also National One United Race Day, right? And National Immigrants Day. So holy cow, we're closing off with a lot of issues on this show today. But, there's there are bad cops. There are bad doctors, there are bad cops. There's always bad in everything. But there are really good cops
too.
There's
more good.
We do
There's
need
more
to
good.
There's more good, but the bad ones are really bad and have been doing it. And, and this is a national thing. I would like to see I don't know how it could happen, but I do believe our first responders, just like our veterans, our military veterans, do need some time out to breathe from what they see every single day. And I really believe that there's a mental health issue in our country across the board, and that's passed down through generations. But I also believe that these first responders put their life on the line and they see so much. How are you expecting them to be on the wavelength of a civilian?
Well, also the other problem is that,
and I'm not giving any excuse to the people that have killed Black people, the cops who have done that. I am not.
Not
you
know
what I mean?
But,
hell no.
But there's also, they're working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not healthy for anybody. That's just not healthy.
No, it's too much drama, too much stress.
It's just not.
It's a high stress job.
Most of the mistakes that happen in the hospital, happen after the 8th hour. And, And so it's just something that needs. And my wife, being an advanced practice nurse who's worked in the ER, who's worked in Army bases, who has, so we know about, about that. And I have so many wonderful healthcare providers in my life that are amazing, that keep me going, keep me alive, keep me thriving. I've also had some very bad experiences that were very traumatic, but you can't let those control you, but you do have to work to make positive change. So, but we should celebrate the good and change the bad. Yeah.
It is the fall season, which is about the changing of the leaves.
So we celebrate the good, we try to change the bad and keep on trucking.
Right on. Joey, always good to have you on the show.
My
Everyone, joeystuckey.com. We've got a good playlist of punk songs from Joey and chocolate. We have other things in there too. We have a little bit of everything. So again, just look in the show notes, no matter where you're listening from.
It's a smorgasbord.
Google.
It's a smorgasbord.
That was well said. Well said.
Thank you.
And everyone, thank you for listening here on BigBlendRadio.com. We appreciate you. And if you're celebrating your birthday this week, we wish you the best day. Yeah. And don't forget to celebrate every single day because it's your day. Thanks for listening to Big Blend Radio's Big Weekly Blend podcast. You can keep up with our shows at BigBlendRadio.com. And if you want to get our Big Weekly Blend magazine, just sign up for our newsletter at BlendRadioandTV.com.